Hey everybody, welcome back to another Overwatch League / I guess you could say traditional Overwatch game news recap type of video. Now, most of the stuff we'll be talking about, if not all of it, is not going to come as a surprise or a shock to any of you really, but it's definitely still worth discussing / giving opinions and providing updates because we are slowly but surely getting towards those so-called promised big reveals / dates that we're supposed to be getting, like in April with the Overwatch League playing on Overwatch 2, as well as other big stuff that's supposed to be in the works according to that creator meeting. First things first, the big thing I wanted to get out of the way to begin this video is a recent article created by Aaron Halo of Thoughts on Dexterto. You may have heard of him before. He's a big-time journalist / leaker on Twitter. He does a lot of roster moves for the Overwatch League and Valorant as well. Anyway, the big-time headline of this article is the fact that Overwatch League players still have yet to even touch Overwatch 2 in preparation for the league this year. You know, the game they're supposed to be playing on. To this day, on this recording, January 31st, 2022, the league has still been forced to have all of their players simply scrim and practice on Overwatch 1 in a variant of a custom game where it's 5v5 to kind of at least make it feel like it's Overwatch 2 a little bit, but still, it's really, really sad. At the end of the day, Overwatch 2 still will have a different feel to it. It's going to be very similar to Overwatch 1, of course, the same fundamentals and whatnot. A lot of the characters are obviously going to feel exactly the same, but not everybody. They made tweaks to specific characters, and there's a new game mode, new maps. There's so much more to adjust to, and these players don't have the opportunity yet. And when considering that we're only a couple of months away right now as it currently stands from opening day, that's not exactly the best sign, and it makes you wonder what is going to happen, if there actually is a plan, or if we're going to see some sort of delay. If these players are still kind of being left in the dark, as well as teams in general, maybe we should have had the league start a couple of months after April instead, like in the summer, like that supposed article that originally leaked that was saying. Maybe that is actually the play, you know? Is it really worth rushing things through if we're not ready? Don't get me wrong, I really think this is a good idea on paper. I think we need to have some sort of change since this game is desperately in need of some sort of shakeup if it were to have some sort of revival, but it's not really worth it if it's clear that you're not prepared and that things are going to be a disaster. You have to at least have a product out there that you know is going to be usable. And right now, we don't know for certain if it is. I mean, we've seen a lot of gameplay and we've had players use it during September, during the playoffs or whatever it was, but maybe they still need more time to tweak things. I mean, you'd assume that things are going to be ready because why would the Overwatch League so confidently say that they're going to have everything start in April if that wasn't the case? It's not like anything has changed. There's still walkouts going on. There's still all of this nonsense with the work environment and everything. None of that has changed. So what's the deal? Are you rushing out of desperation or do you actually have a plan? Are you going to be ready on time? And what is exactly on time? That's another thing, right? Do we mean March? Do we mean literally like a week before the season starts? When are these players actually going to get an opportunity to practice? Sure, they're still practicing their mechanics and building synergy and being with their teammates every day, but you need more than that. Don't you want these guys to actually get a chance to experience the game and look like actual professionals on it? If you give them this game with very little preparation whatsoever, it could end up being a mess. Some people might say that the chaos will result in some very interesting games, and sure, maybe that's the case, but for other people it may seem very unprofessional and like everything just wasn't ready. These are supposed to be the best of the best, world-class elite players, and if they're trying to figure out what's going on, then how can you expect your audience or anybody else to figure it out? Again, Overwatch 2 is going to be very, very strikingly similar to Overwatch 1, but there are differences and things you have to adjust to, and that's just not fair to the players, I feel like, because back when the Overwatch League was first made, these players had a couple of years of preparation, essentially, and they're not going to have that at all here. I feel like more than a couple of months are needed, but we're running out of time at this point. We're entering February. We're literally 2 months away from the season unless a delay is implemented very, very soon. It kind of goes without saying that action needs to happen sooner rather than later as we head into February here. We need some big news to drop, and if we're not going to get anything, at least talk to the teams. Let the players and the coaches and the GMs and everybody else heavily involved and invested know what's up. It's unfair, and to be completely honest, you have a lot of jobs on the line here. Think about all of the players and everybody just waiting to see what they have to do. You have people trying to figure out their living situations. I remember Dante on Twitter a while back was complaining because he didn't know when the season was going to end and all that good stuff, when he's going to be playing on the game. It's hard to make these types of decisions when you have no idea what's going to happen financially and everything for you. It's very stressful. So why not give them a clue or have some sort of meeting soon? I think everyone, and I could speak for most GMs and owners and all of that are just tired of doing nothing. They want to hear something. They want to have somebody talk to them about literally anything just so they know that there's some sort of future here. We've had radio silence for far too long at this point. February is going to be a super telling month in my opinion about how we should be treating the league and this game. So much is on the line here, and I hope that we get a bunch of good announcements. We've got an esports scene, an entire franchise, and a big-time fan base resting on their shoulders right now, and I can only pray that everything works out in our favor, because if not, big time yikes. It's very sad to say this, but none of this is surprising, you know, and I'm sure a lot of you feel the exact same way. Of course this is the case right now. Of course everybody's left in the dark and all of these players still can't play in Overwatch 2. It makes sense. That's how everything's been going lately. Just absolute garbage. And to be honest, this isn't even the first I've heard of it. I mean, first off, no players have really been excited about anything lately, but also I remember seeing from someone else I know that he talked to some of his sources about if they're playing on Overwatch 2 yet, and his source responded with, LOL, no. Like, come on, really? That's where we're at. It's so not surprising, but still really pathetic. It really makes you wonder if we should have done another year of Overwatch 1 or not. Originally, I was really excited. I was very optimistic, but that's because I thought for sure that we had at least a somewhat ready product out there for the public to see, you know? Something that is at least somewhat polished and that could run smoothly, and we're not in a situation where we have to rush to get it out. If they're rushing right now to get this ready for April, then that's a big oof. I'd assume that they do have some sort of plan. They're just waiting till the last second because, you know, why not? Whatever. They have other things going on. But you never really know. You never know how things can change suddenly. It's weird to change my stance, but I almost wish that they did another year of Overwatch 1. It would have been so much less stressful on everybody, and yeah, the ratings might not be that great, but they'd probably maintain what we had in Season 4 and 3, so is it really that big of a deal? You just take another L for this next coming year, and then hopefully you're more ready for 2023. But at the same time, I recognize that might not have really been much of an option, considering that the general fan base and player base of Overwatch has grown very, very impatient. I mean, our patience has really just reached the limit at this point, and they kind of need something to get them excited again. Otherwise, the game's just going to really die. Like, I mean, we've been talking about how it's dying, but it will literally just be over. So I don't really know. Maybe they're making the right move, maybe not. Either way, there's a lot of question marks and doubts right now, and it's a shame. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the negativity, and I know that you guys are too. Speaking of negativity, that gets me into my next point of interest in Halo's article that kind of discusses the situation going on with the Overwatch League's operations going to a third party supposedly. Just for a quick rundown if you weren't already aware, on January 27th, the Esports Observer announced that Activision Blizzard was supposedly expected to hand over the operations for the Overwatch League to a third party, just like how the Call of Duty League did. But here's the kicker. According to Dexerto and Halo's sources, Overwatch League teams have been left in the dark about these reported plans. Apparently, they weren't even aware of these intentions to begin with, and they still don't have any sort of news or indication on what's going to happen, and if there still are plans to go to some sort of third party to run the league. They have no clue what's going on. Why? How? How is this a thing? How do they have no idea what's going on with something so important like this? That's the problem now, man. We never have any transparency or communication. We're left in the dark all the time. Nothing is clear ever. Does the League and Activision Blizzard and Microsoft even know what's going on? Sometimes I wonder. This is why people lose their passion and interest for the game and why they consider quitting and retiring altogether. It's so stressful, like unnecessarily stressful, I feel like. And for everybody, content creators, players, coaches, general managers, I myself have even thought about it at times. How much longer is it worth going on with this, you know? Everybody has that thought these days. Especially when this is like your life, your career. This is how you put food on the table. You need to know these things. We're always left with a lot of questions, but very, very little answers. It would be a lot different if we knew what was going on and if we were well informed, but people just didn't like the direction the game was taking or where the league was going. That's fine, so be it, at least you tried. But right now we're in a situation where we don't know anything at all, and there is no effort. It's one thing to not be able to work on the game or have canceled projects because of Bobby Kodak or whatever his name is, but what about the stuff beyond that, informing teams and players and all of that? What's the issue there? Why can't you do any of that? I just don't understand. I wish I knew. I really did. It's actually really unfortunate to hear this kind of stuff because originally I was actually kind of excited to hear this news when it first happened. The idea of putting a different party in charge of the league kind of made me think that maybe we could get more content in a way. Hand over the league's operations to someone who truly cares, someone with true dedication, you know? Maybe we can actually get something more than just the regular Overwatch League. Perhaps we'll see the return of big-time tournaments come in form, where maybe like contenders and Overwatch League players mix together. I think that would be pretty sick. Remember back in the day before the Overwatch League and all of the amazing monthly and weekly tournaments we had? Imagine if we could go back to that system so then the offseason wasn't so dry. There's a lot this could do. It could provide us with entertainment, it can keep the pros in good shape, but also it could give the contenders players a way to prove themselves and for them to earn some more money, because we all know that it's pretty rough in the path to pro in terms of earnings and whatnot. I can't speak for the other regions, but being someone who kept track of NA back in the day, like during 2016, early 2017, there was always so much to look forward to with like the monthly Alienware thing that went on. You also had the Carbon Series tournaments. There was always something, and that's something that we've really lacked, and it's something we really benefit from during these long and just dreadful off seasons at times. There's just so much potential, and you can split it up into regions too. There's so many different things you can do to get people excited about this game and its esports scene. The potential is limitless, so you gotta try and capitalize on that. That's why it hurts so much to hear these teams not know anything, because that tells me that there likely has not been any progress whatsoever. Hopefully something ends up delivering in this situation, because I just can't help but think about how great things could end up being with a bit more effort. The only thread that's really keeping us hanging on at this point is the whole creator meeting that happened and how all of those guys are really excited for whatever is coming very soon apparently. We need that to be an absolute banger. I mean, sometimes I wonder if we're even getting anything exciting to begin with. I'd assume so. I'm trying to stay positive and optimistic, but right now I don't know if it's even going to be enough. This has to really knock our socks off or we're in big time trouble. But you know, speaking of the whole creator meeting and supposed news coming soon, we also have the supposed leaks and rumors floating around that Overwatch 2 stuff could be happening in February 2022, even if it's just some sort of beta. Take this all with a grain of salt, but apparently an Overwatch content creator has stepped forward, anonymously mind you, and has claimed that more info should be coming around the third week of February regarding the release of Overwatch 2. And this actually comes from a YouTube interview conducted by Worst Sombra. I'll leave a link to that video in the description, where he talked with somebody that he claimed was at the meeting and had signed an NDA like the other content creators. Again, don't think for a second that this is definitely true. This could be staged. We have no idea what's going on. This supposed source could also be lying. We have no idea for sure, but the fact that there's any sort of rumor going around, any sort of excitement to get us through the next month or so, that's great. The fact that we might have something to look forward to is a reason to rejoice. Isn't that sad? Like, come on. That's so embarrassing to think about. The fact that I'm getting excited about something that might not even be true to begin with. Holy moly. What a world we live in at this point. Oh well, though. For all my Overwatch League primary fans, I guess you could say, who don't really care about the normal game that much, you might not care that much about this when I say that the meeting was mostly just around the game content, supposedly. It was basically just targeting the casual audience / the general player base and content creators rather than the esports scene, but I don't think that really comes as much of a surprise. The esports thing is kind of a secondary thing. The game is the most important part. It's very concerning for the Overwatch League and the path to pro and whatnot, but hey, what can you do? That's where we are right now. We kind of just have to accept it. But also, something else to keep in mind that could be lining up with this supposed leak is the fact that Activision investor calls are supposed to be taking place on February 3rd, which could mean that some of the stuff has some weight to it. Again, really just take everything with a grain of salt. I wouldn't expect anything, given that it's Overwatch and it's not some other game, but you never know. You never, ever know. And I mean, if you want like maximum hope in terms of people maybe being excited for the game coming soon, you have Seagull streaming Overwatch again recently, and I know that Tim the Tatman played it and stuff in Dr. Disrespect, so maybe they're excited about something too. That's really a stretch, but I'll take anything I can get at this point, and I know you guys will too. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to discuss in today's video. I know a lot of this is very frustrating, but I thought it was kind of worth talking about because this is really sad and annoying, and I feel like it needs to have some light on it more than just an internet article for sure. But also at the same time, there maybe is some potential hope in the air, so that's something to maybe look forward to as well. And I promise this is the last time we'll talk about any sort of like Overwatch, Overwatch 2, Overwatch League future opinion thing. I just wanted to get this out there one more time because I felt like a lot of this info was somewhat important to discuss. But yeah, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you're new, if you want more Overwatch and Overwatch League content here on the channel in the future. And as always, I wanted to thank all of you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your support. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.